If you are currently in a state of suspension, I want you to know that this is actually a positive thing that is going to serve you and that you are actually at a precipice. You are currently in transition from an old world or an old reality, and you are stepping into a new world and a new reality where things are going to be a lot more positive, joyful, happy, successful, and will come with a lot more ease. Now, what do I mean by state of suspension? So this can show up in any area of your life where maybe things are just not progressing, they're just not moving. Maybe you're in a limbo phase, or maybe things were progressing and you thought things were in a good place and they have suddenly come to a complete stop, a standstill, almost to the point where you can't go back. It's completely cut off from the old reality and you're left in this more limbo-like state. This could be, for example, that maybe you recently lost a job. This could be something that shows up in your relationship. This could be something with regards to your healing or the healing of someone else, where you're in this limbo state. You're not really sure what's going to happen, and you have to wait for results, and you have to wait before you're really able to make a decision and see what comes your way, and just kind of in this overall limbo state. Now, what can happen when we're in this state of suspension is at first it might feel okay. We might be like, you know what, this is fine. I didn't need that old reality anyways. I'm good. I'm ready for something new. But at some point, you may enter this space of manufactured fear. Now, manufactured fear is something that came to me. I looked it up and it's actually a real term, but I'm going to be using it in the way that it came to me. Manufactured fear can show up as a sense of restlessness. It's all of a sudden things are quiet, and all of a sudden that reality is hitting me. And now I'm in this state of, I have to figure out what I'm supposed to do. I feel like I'm behind. If I don't take action now, then everything is going to completely crumble. Or I didn't work hard enough yesterday. I need to take action. I need to take action. So there's a sense of restlessness. You may also find that maybe in your meditations, if that's something that you do, that normally you're more open, but all of a sudden you are really trying to pull. You're really trying to grab something. You're really trying to squeeze out of the universe some kind of message, some kind of action, some kind of wisdom. So you're trying to squeeze something out of either spirit or someone else or out of yourself because you are in a state of restlessness. I want you to just honor that in life, there are many cycles, or there are cycles, and there are many stages within a cycle. And currently you are in a new moon kind of stage, which makes sense. If you're watching this at the time that it's posted, this is the Cancer new moon. And so when you are in this stage, it is quiet, and there is a tendency to want to take action, which is really pushing forth with regards to more of that masculine energy. And we have all energies within us, both masculine and feminine and everything in between, no matter what your actual gender is or how you identify. But now you're being asked to be in a more receptive, open, spiritually connected state, which is that feminine side. And you really want to honor this. And this is very, very important for you right now if this message is resonating with you regarding being in a state of suspension and feeling this sense of being at a precipice. Because what is actually happening is not only are things in your life starting to switch and change, but the other thing that I got for all of us who are watching this is this image of our higher selves just coming up right here and hammering into our third eye. And as that happened, just this outer layer coming off. And then the higher selves kept doing it again, and another layer came off of all of us. And again, and another layer came, and it kept going and going and going until what was left was this light, which represented our soul. And then our higher self started to shape this light. And essentially what's happening is throughout our lives up until this point, we have been conditioned by our external factors, which we live in a physical world, so it's going to happen, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But with everything that's happening in humanity and in the world, we are all moving into a new precipice. We are all trying to shift from 3D into 5D. And so now our souls are being activated very differently. All those outer layers are being asked to drop away from us. And instead, we're being asked to allow our soul to take its full shape instead of the shape that we've crammed it into with all of the external conditioning. So this is actually a very, very exciting time. It can seem very unsettling because it can be very quiet, but it is that threshold into something new. So if there's a certain type of personality that maybe you have always had to deal with in a certain area of your life, and in your mind right now, it is unimaginable that that could ever be different, because that's not how the world is. Of course, there would be the same kinds of personalities forever. That might be something that's shifting, whether you can mentally conceive of it or not. And right now you're going through that shaping, through that breaking of all of the layers to where your soul's going to come out. One other thing that I want to mention is that purpose. Purpose has been a really, really big theme in 2026. If you've watched several of the other moon-related videos that I have on my channel, it kept coming up. First, it was a reawakening to a purpose that maybe you had 2 or 3 years prior. And then it was a reassessing of that purpose and whether we wanted it to be different. It was now at an elevated level. And then in the next round, it was more about like, you know what, really refining what that purpose is going to be, because we have grown over those 2 to 3 years. And so what we wanted then might not actually be what we want now, because we've matured over that time, and so too will our purpose. And purpose is coming through yet again here, where before a lot of our purpose was something that we thought had to fit a very specific, my purpose has to be specific. It has to be delivered in a very specific way. It has to be given to very specific kinds of people. And we're very, very specific about that. But when you think about people, like really important spiritual moments in your life where there's someone that really left an impression on you, or an event that took place that really you'll never forget. Or when you think about angels, for example, that appear in human form, maybe you're out at some event and something really scary happened, and this stranger stepped in and helped protect you. And that was the only time you ever met them. And from there on out, you don't ever remember them. And for them, they were just doing an ordinary thing for them, or they just happened to be there because they happened to be there. They weren't saying, I have to be at this place and I have to do this thing and it has to be at this time. They just happened to be there. And yet they were an angel that served you in your life and took care of you in some way. You are probably an angel in many people's lives as well, and you have no idea because you were just going about doing your regular thing. So in our minds, we have this idea that a purpose has to be very specific and delivered a very specific way and to the right people, and we have all these ideas when really it's just about living our lives, and purpose comes out in every interaction that we have if we are doing our best to be aligned and to serve others. So purpose is coming up again, and how we see it is now going to be from a very soul perspective. It's not going to be something that we box in. And another example I give you is nature. Nature's purpose is to nurture. It is to grow. It is the life force. It is to bring life. And it doesn't decide, I'm only going to do that through one animal. I'm only going to do that through one plant. Nature provides a multitude of plants, an infinite number of plants, so many different species of animals. We are included in that as well. And there's not just one way. There is growth, and that is sustaining life. And then there is death as well. And in that, there is a cycle as well. And then there are, creatures that are there to consume the death, for example, vultures. And, the whole thing, there is not just one way. Mother Nature, Mother Earth, just does her purpose freely, without a box, wild and free. And that is where we are headed as well. So I'm very excited about this. It is very, very uncomfortable, but the transformation that we are going through is phenomenal. We're not going to be the same coming out of it as we are now. And it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be amazing. We're leveling up. And probably the card that should represent this is the World card. All right. I hope that this served you. Thank you so much. And I'll catch you in the next one.